Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Uber Entertainment live stream. Sorry for the little delay there. I blame it all on Andrew. It's all his fault. I've just received a finger. I think it was a thumbs up, actually. So we're good. We're good. Everything's great.
Double thumbs up.
Yes, 2 thumbs up from Andrew there. So I feel great. Thank you for joining us. And the first thing, what we always love to do here is we want to thank you, the backers, the people who pledged for our game, who pre-ordered it as well.
Or bought it, yeah.
Or just straight up bought it on Steam. Thank you guys. You are helping this vision come true, and we deeply appreciate it. Today we got a hell of a show, I think.
It's a hell of a show.
Hell of a show tonight. We're going to show you a new orbital camera. We're also going to show you a live game. We're going to take some questions. In fact, we already have them from our forum, so thank you for throwing us questions. And we have an exciting new fall video to share with you. I don't know, should we preface it or should we just go?
Well, I don't know. I mean, what is there to say, really, other than we like goofing around, apparently?
Yes, dumb live-action videos are a thing that I love. And it turned out fantastic, actually. That was a truly epic trailer that shows off, I think, what our game is all about.
It's like advanced next-generation technology, right?
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yes. Let's do it. Let's show it. What says fall more than a chainsaw woodcarver not only making a brilliant cratered moon, but also dropping it from a crane in his front yard, even. Fantastic.
What are you talking
stuff.
about? There was no crane. That was rockets shooting it down towards the ground.
Yes, that's what I meant by crane. No, it's a fantastic process. That's actually a local woodcarver in our area. His name's Tomas. He did a fantastic job recreating one of our, I would say, iconic moons.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get more into like live-action video, right?
Indeed, indeed. Live action's it's fun. It's you can do different things that also kind of still maintain the theme and tone of what you're making. It's cool.
Kind of like Command and Conquer, right?
Yes.
Oh wait,
we need Ric Flair.
There's no Command and Conquer anymore.
It's true. It's true.
Sucks.
Okay. Now I'm sad. Maybe we can get Ric Flair.
We probably can't.
Okay.
Pretty sure that's far outside the budget.
Okay. Maybe. Who knows?
Chainsaw carving, fine. Ric Flair,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. Ric Flair's out.
So we've actually got this thing here, right?
Absolutely. So even though it did break in the video, Tomas is so good at wood carving in general, he was able to save the arm in RoboCop speak. Here we go. This is the planet, and it spins too, John. I don't know if you know that.
Not only does it spin, but it's got quite the scent.
Yes.
You know? It totally dominates the smell of the office, which is good because the office usually smells like burnt popcorn or microwaved vegetables.
Yeah, it smells like fire and soot and tree. No, just fantastic work all around. I'm happy that we have this in office. I know Howard's especially happy that we got to save the planet.
Yes.
Which was the thing when we pitched the idea. Howard's like, well, what's going to happen to the planet? Like, you're just going to have them break it? Like,
you can see there's some cracks, right? Like there's a big
yeah,
crack
there are some
here.
cracks. So he actually put wood screws in it to put it back together. He cut it out as a jigsaw puzzle, basically. So when it did break, it would break in larger chunks that he could actually control and put back together.
Anyway, it's incredibly heavy, and it's on basically a steel kind of frame at the bottom. So
yeah,
it'll make a nice little thing for I'm really jealous. Valve has all this cool stuff in their lobby. If you go over there, they have people are building crazy robotic, guns and computer cases and all this kind of stuff. And so this is like our first lobby piece.
Yeah, and it looks great. We should get the guy to do the Uberman. I was thinking.
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday.
So anyway, let's take it around to a more serious subject. which is the new camera. So, you know, in my opinion, one of the biggest warts in the game so far has been that kind of camera, especially the transition between planets and celestial and all that kind of stuff. It's just kind of hasn't really met our expectations. So in the last couple of weeks, Ryan has been working on a new camera, and we're going to give you guys a demo of that. I wanted to actually get this into the build that we released yesterday, but it just wasn't quite worked on long enough yet. It's close, but you know, it's the little touches that have to get in there. So, anything you want to say, Ryan?
I'll talk about it as I go.
All right.
There we go. Live demo.
Yeah, let's get it up on the...
We're building the system now.
Check out that Movember mustache, by the way, folks. I love it. I think Ryan looks... I mean, no offense to y'all who are watching.
Actually, that is one of the questions that we got. I don't know if I scratched that one out or not, but it's like, why aren't you guys doing Movember? And I'm like...
Because we need to look pretty for the cameras.
Yeah, exactly. That's
that's duh. But although Ryan, I would argue, probably looks the prettiest.
Also, the last time I shaved my mustache off was probably more than a decade ago.
Oh, wow. Wow, it'd be. You know what? You should have reversed it from November. Just went just bare for a month. Who knows?
I don't think so.
That was it. I don't think so. So Ryan, what you got?
So we're good to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, a part of building the game is trying out different things and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. And the camera evolved from a few different directions. You know, some folks were focused on gameplay on the planet, and other folks were focused on space play, and other folks were focused on the system editor. We came up with a kind of a hodgepodge of cameras, one in game and one in the system editor and one in space, and they don't feel right together. So what we wanted to do was try and unify them a bit. So what we did is we actually changed this so as you zoom out, it's a seamless camera, and it gives you the freedom to rotate the system you're looking at in any which way you like. And to really make this feel good, we felt like there were a few things that were important. One, obviously, is a seamless transition from planet to space, which you can see here we've got going on. And then another is an ability to make that transition in a gameplay-friendly way. So something we've put a fair amount of time into is making it so that you can have some, depending on how you work the mouse wheel, some fine-grained zooming versus more sort of accelerated zooming based on the scope of your mouse gesture. So I can adjust my zoom level carefully, or if I give the wheel a big spin, I can just pop out as far as possible. And of course, these values are adjustable with assorted sliders. Another feature we threw in, just because it kind of seemed interesting at the time I was doing the camera work, was this, well, it's what I'm calling camera friction, I guess. And so basically you can take your planet and give it a spin, and depending on your friction setting, and in this case the friction is set to 0, it'll keep spinning. So you can bring it to a stop by giving another click, and the idea is you might, if this is your sort of feature, and not everyone in the office agrees that it's a good feature, it's hotly debated, but if it is your sort of feature, you can kind of zoom out, spin the planet around, and then zoom back in. So the notion is to, between the mouse wheel and the mouse motions, give an experience where you can, you know, fluidly play the game. And a lot of the functionality is there. One of the main reasons we didn't want to ship it for the weekend was that the fine-tuning of the system just isn't ready to go yet. So for example, if I spin this way, or zoom this out and give it a hefty spin, it's just way too fast, right? That's the kind of thing that I'm working on now, is to come in and give it a nice numbers pass so that everything feels good.
So something unrelated to the camera, I just wanted to point out real quick about this build, because we don't usually show these kinds of builds. Is at the top you'll see beta build, and then you'll see Argaffney. We've kind of beefed up our publishing processes lately to allow us to do things on different branches and stuff, and actually test those easily. So if you see stuff like that in like a live stream, it's just a private branch build basically. Not that anyone cares about that. I'm sure someone cares, but
there's someone out there.
So another thing that's been a bit of a wart playing both with respect to the planet and with respect to the keyboard bindings is actually getting from one planet to another, right? Previously, you could do it with the comma key, which you still can. You can cycle through planets this way. You could zoom out to space view, and you could click your planet here, which you can still do. One click to center, another click to zoom in on it. But we wanted it to be even more fluid than that. So what you can actually do now is you can click right on the planet you want to go to, and it'll focus it. Or if you're focused on one planet, you can zoom out and you can just zoom directly into the next planet. So we're hoping that with these new features, we can create a more integrated sense of gameplay, and that's pretty much the long and the short of it for now.
There's also some other interesting stuff that you've done in the last few weeks. Some of that is in the build, showing more of the paths that things are taking over time. You know, we haven't really talked about that too much. It just kind of showed up there, but when you have a commander or someone else go travel between planets, you actually kind of more see the path that they're going to be on. Same thing with the incoming asteroids. And I think that's a really powerful kind of feature that, you know, this camera is one piece of the whole kind of orbital piece of the gameplay. And I don't think it's any surprise to anyone that the orbital side is, you know, it's our most speculative kind of new piece of the game that we really have to get our heads wrapped around. And so this is all part of that kind of process.
Yeah, and the you know, the more the orbital features go in, and the more they get used, the more we're encouraged to work on them, right? You know, so planet smashing came in fairly late in the game, and so not a lot of thought had been put into the actual mechanics of how that was going to work. And now that it's in the game and we're getting feedback, we're thinking of ways to make it better. And you know, for a while you couldn't see any kind of an orbital path, and then you could see an orbital path. And as of I think 2 builds ago, now when you send an asteroid to smash into a planet, or you send a unit to move around a planet, you actually get a path showing how it's going to loop around the sun and how it's going to navigate to the next planet. And that stuff has just, you know, there's still so much room for improvement.
Well, yeah, I think one of the areas that we're going to improve for sure is the actual orbital path effect looks awful.
Yeah, this actual path effect I cannot wait to replace. It's, you know, it's a placeholder. It's the same one that we're using for units on the planet, and
which also looks like crap.
Yeah, even those paths are probably going to get replaced as well with some sort of a more suitable generic draw curve system.
You know, Kerbal just draws lines, right?
Yeah, and we do that in the system editor. You know, if you drop a planet in orbit, you can mess around with its orbit, or you can move it around the universe, and it draws a line to represent that. And it gets the job done, but you know, we want
that was one of the other
really
things that
looks
wasn't
good.
quite finished, right? Was getting this integrated into the system editor, the camera.
Right now, I think I've worked out all the major actual breakages in the system editor, but same as in game, it needs a little bit of polish to make it really feel good.
Anyway, to me, this is one of the major, big, top issues in the game. You know, orbital gameplay needs a lot of work, and I'm going to be talking more about that in the forum, I think, over the next week or so, with regards to the changes that we're going to make to orbital. But there's going to be some pretty big changes to how everything works in orbital, like changes to costs of things, changes to how things work. So, you know, orbital is, you know, we realize that it's early, and we're going to make it better. Yep. Anything else you want to say about the camera?
I think that's it for the moment. You know, hopefully we'll get this in the build 1 or 2 builds after Thanksgiving. At this point, it's mostly a matter of doing some tuning and you know, really hammering on it from a test standpoint. The camera code touches a lot of other areas of code, so there's always potential for breakage. And you know, obviously we don't want to ship any build that takes a step backwards.
Now,
from where
is that
it was.
before or after you do that trucker run down the freeway?
Well, that's over Thanksgiving weekend, so that'll be out.
Get overtime, right? Is that how that works? Well, hey Ryan, thank you so much for showing this today.
Yeah, no problem.
You know, I guess one thing we didn't talk about. You're making yourself motion sick with this, right? You mentioning that one thing.
You know, so I'll talk a little bit about this friction feature. There are some people in the office who just love it, and there's 1 or 2 people that just hate it to the point of saying that it's absolutely unplayable. Obviously, what you're seeing here is a 0 friction setting, which since I do a lot of work on the celestial systems, to me is kind of entrancing. And when I was first getting this working, I would set this to spinning, and I watched it for hours, really for days on end. And I'd go to lunch, I'd be walking down the sidewalk, and I'd feel like the whole ground was kind of moving under me. And
dangerous work.
And then I started combining it with the zoom in and the zoom out at the same time.
Oh,
and
buddy.
Let me tell you, doing this for an hour or 2 really doesn't number on your eyes. So yeah, but it's been fun to work on. Actually, it's been a nice change of pace, and it's been a lot more enjoyable than I expected to really kind of tune some of these features.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Well, thank you again. Appreciate it, man.
No problem.
I tell you what, stream. So next thing on deck is we're gonna play a live game while taking some of your questions, and that might take a little bit of setup here. So I guess this is the spot where I fill time by saying something incoherent. By the way, I forgot to mention actually about the planet. You want to show that big beautiful thing again? Check that out. Look at that. Look at that. That was Eka's idea, actually, the actual pitch for the video, and he put it all together as well. Andrew and Ong were out there taping or recording the process too, and they all did a fantastic job.
And we'll get some good footage in the documentary from that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, you know, we're going to do more live action stuff because honestly, it's easier, right?
Yeah, no, it's a lot easier, and you can do some really cool stuff, really funny stuff, just like, you know, irreverent kind of things. One of the things in the trailer too, first time we've ever played any of the orchestra music from our soundtrack from Howard, actually. So
that's right. That trailer actually has real orchestral music in it.
And last thing, I totally forgot to mention this. We're on sale right now on Steam.
Yeah.
$44.99, 25% off.
That's right.
On Steam as part of their autumn sale, and that trailer was a big part of that process. You know, fall, you know, the planet smashing season, which, you know, it's fantastic. So,
I mean, that's pretty much what we made the trailer for, right? It was for just a little teaser for the Steam sale.
And nice thank you too. So, you know, I really think that really shows off the experience I think a lot of our players are having right now.
So let's do a couple questions while the game is kind of booting up here.
I got the lobby up, and we're just waiting.
Yeah, you guys go forward with the game, and we'll run through a few of these.
Fantastic. You want me to start at the top?
Sure. Yeah.
Sure. So, Liquis and others, many others, have asked us, what new units are in the works, and what do they do?
So, we have a number of different units kind of in the works. I really can't just go through and list them all, but I'll give some examples. So generally speaking, you know, what we're aiming for, or what I'm aiming for anyway, we'll see exactly where we end up, is to have, you know, at least 4 to 6 units from each factory. So, you know, we need to fill in some unit roles. So some of the obvious ones that we're missing right now are air transports, so you can move your units around on the planet more easily. And we're probably going to start with an air transport that is like a single unit at a time, kind of like you know, an Atlas. I like that for a number of reasons, and I like the idea of having fleets of these things. If we make it easy for a fleet of these things to go and pick up an army and move it, I think that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
That's not to say that we'll never do multi-unit transports. In fact, I've seen that sort of working, but there's a lot more touchy stuff to do on that. Another one is that people have been kind of really asking for is basically an advanced flak tower of some kind to combat air. I was kind of hoping we could get away without going too over the top in terms of air defenses, because I like the idea that the fighters are your air defense, but I think the player demand for a flat cannon seems to be overwhelming, to say the least.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's going to be other types of vehicles that will fill in different roles. I don't know that we've 100% plus, you know, thumbs up or thumbs down on a lot of these things. I don't really want to talk about it, but stuff like mine layers and different types of tanks and more variants of bots that have different armor and weapon combos and stuff like that. There's a big thread on the forum about this, so people can participate there.
Yeah, massive thread.
And you know, I wouldn't expect these aren't going to all just show up at once in a build, right? It's going to be they're going to trickle in over time.
Right.
You'll also notice we made some changes in the last month or so to things like the laser towers. We actually added it, so now we have the single, double, triple, and that was because I kind of felt like we didn't have enough tuning range in there for those.
Yeah.
And it just made sense. And honestly, you know, a lot of people talk about balance. These new units are going to affect balance. Balance really is not and has not been our primary concern. I know people kind of wish the game was more balanced or that it was perfectly balanced, but when the sand is shifting as quickly as it is for us, you know, things like unit leading goes in, it really affects the balance, and we really can't chase our own tail too much.
Right. Yeah. It's a very I've described it as fluid before. It's a thing that it's just constantly going to be changing as we go. We're not changing in some cases, you know. Cool. You want to do one more? This next one's kind of a biggie though. Let's see. Where you at, Mark? How you doing?
We're waiting for one last person. We may just AI it, unless we can get Zaphod to join in here. Because apparently someone was suggesting he join us.
Well, don't let him win.
Well, he's got to play if he can't just stream. He's got to play if he's going to hop in. So.
That's true. That's true. You got to play for real, bro.
So what's the next question?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's do this. I was wondering how you guys see the single player and multiplayer in Galactic War. How will it function, and how the single player of this part may vary from the multiplayer Galactic War?
So I don't want to talk too much about the Galactic War. It's well kind of underway, but we're still defining it.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen it, but it's not quite playable yet. And the single player game it's actually going to be a pretty comprehensive metagame. There's more to it than just like, oh, here's some star systems and attack them. There's actually gameplay. You can almost play the Galactic War as its own game without even playing PA if you wanted to. At least that's kind of how we've been approaching the design of it. That's for the single player, because we really kind of strongly feel like for the game to be successful, that people need to be able to play it within a single player context and have fun and all that kind of stuff. So that's really important. Multiplayer, it will be based on the single player game, but with extensions for larger numbers of people. And the primary difference is that in single player, when you take a turn in the game, it's like you take your turn, the AI will take its turn, whatever. Yeah. In multiplayer, the turns are going to be more based on time. So we may do games of different durations. Like there might be games that have a turn duration of like an hour, and there might be one that's 12 hours, and maybe one that's a week or something like that we can overlap.
Right.
And then, you know, hopefully the ability to have some clan war action in there and start your own Galactic War amongst your kind of group of friends, where you kind of configure it how you want. So those are all the goals. Galactic War is definitely, you know, lagged behind the rest of the game in terms of where it is, but it is coming along, and we'll probably show you something on that in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
I don't like giving too many ETAs, but
yeah, at some point down the line. Let's do one more here. What is the basic plan? Excuse me, by the way, the guy who asked that question was Hackereli Scalus. So here we go. Next question. What is the basic plan for the unit cannon and teleporter in terms of range and cost? Also, will the teleporter look like a Stargate? Ask Hackerelius Lava Snake.
I don't know. What does the teleporter look like, Andrew? Have we built that yet? I don't think we have.
How does it work?
So the way that the teleporter works is, one of the primary questions was, I think this is the next one actually, but I'm going to kind of mix them in. Somebody want to know how's it going to work. So the idea with the teleporter is you build teleporters all across your star system, and it makes up a network of gates. And so what you do is you basically, if you want to use one, you have your unit click on a teleporter near him, and then you click where you want to go, and it will pick the nearest one and transport you through there. And the cost of that is going to be energy proportional to size of unit and distance. At least that's the kind of initial thought. It might get more quantized than that. So, you know, as Andrew kind of said, like, how does, you know, I don't know how to build it until we know how it works. That's a really valid thing. There's a lot of complexity in the teleporter that we have to kind of work out, and Forrest is working through some of those issues now. For example, are they bi-directional? You know, if guys are coming out, can guys go in, or do we need to have an inside and an outside? That kind of stuff. Is it more just an open thing? Is it a platform? Does it look like a Stargate? Do things in real time go through this, or do they kind of get sucked into it and then appear on the other side?
Right.
There's a lot of like little neat kind of details that we're trying to work out there.
Yeah, still hammering those.
It's probably not going to look like a Stargate, would be my guess.
Probably not. But still, it'll look cool. There was also one about the unit cannon. What is the basic plan for the unit cannon, which is just a cannon that shoots troops?
Yeah,
right?
So it's a similar idea. You click on the cannon, and then the difference being that the cannon will and there's some of the stuff's in the teleporter too. I didn't go through like every detail of that, but basically it can have a unit queue, right? So you click on the teleporter, or you click on the unit cannon, stuff gets queued up, goes through it, gets shot out, lands, and then inherits the order queue of the unit cannon.
Right.
To me, the unit cannon is a nice, cool thing, but I think the teleporters are like more fundamental to the gameplay. But anyway, these are both complicated units and complicated systems that take, I'm not exaggerating when I say weeks of programming effort to make work.
Absolutely. So. They do address, like, you know, a lot of the criticism that we get, rightly so, is, you know, the game kind of ends once people get on other planets. But you know, things like the unicam, things like the teleporter, completely change that.
Yes.
You know, just completely change the balance of the game.
It's kind of like, you know, should we work on trying to balance what's there, or do we finish it and then balance it? And the real answer is a mix of both.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, why not? Will we have a mini map? Is it possible to go into more detail on the way it will work? Ask Hackerilis Claps.
So the way I want the mini map to work is I want to be able to take a sub window and basically put it in a special slave mode where, you know, it acts to control the other view. What we need to do that is we need potentially a cheaper rendering mode for the planet if we want to just make it be like kind of a virtual looking sphere with, like, you know, dots on it, or we could just render the real planet. That could probably just be an option. And then some camera control slaving stuff in there so that you can click on that and it drags around your main view. But I want it to be part of the generic multi-window system. So the thing that we're really waiting for to get that done is the multi, like, split window support and the multi-window support.
Cool, cool. All right, so has your view on Orbital changed at all? Will it remain expensive for late game only, or will it be integrated into lower tiers in the game?
So I think the direction that we're going with that is we're going to make the Orbital launcher cheaper.
Okay. Cool.
And move it kind of, I mean, forget about the tech level thing. I mean, that's such a red herring. It's just, what does something cost? When should you be accessing it? And then we're going to move some of the things that are built in the Orbital launcher to be built in orbit. So you'll launch a Fabber up, and then it will build the bigger stuff on orbit.
Oh, cool.
That's the general idea. But there's a lot of, like, little things that are going to change in Orbital. So I wouldn't say our view has changed. I think it's more like we tried something, and then there's a bunch of stuff at Orbital. It's still hard to select units. The Orbital shell thing isn't working right. The camera, fixing the camera is really the first thing. That's why we put that first on the list. So there's a lot of stuff going on in Orbital.
Pretty cool.
We're a little delayed. Sorry, we had some over-enthusiastic people joining us, so we're trying to get our lobby put together. So.
Oh, did they get the password or something?
Yeah.
What was the password?
It was really hard to guess, so you know,
Yeah.
not. So anyway, we got a new lobby up. We have our whole crew assembled, so we should be up and running here in a minute.
Okay.
So let's keep answering questions.
Yeah.
I mean,
last one from, or excuse me, I don't know why I said last one. Hackerilis Wubby Man asks, will Twitch.tv be integrated into PA as in one-button streaming?
well, it's not going to be one button because it's not a PlayStation, right?
Right.
We don't have, like, hardware button. Like, we can't have a button to do that.
Yeah.
But yes, Twitch is being integrated in, so you can log in with your Twitch credentials and hit go. So it's pretty close to one button.
Yeah, it's definitely there. I've just peeked at it from Adam's computer every once in a while walking by. It looks like it's going to be good to go pretty soon.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty excited about that. How we doing on the lobby, Stitch? There we go. All right, look at that.
I say we just keep going through the questions.
Okay. Let's do another one here. Line building, exclamation mark, times 8, ask, or I guess screams, Hackerilis, beer for blood.
So line building, area commands, all that kind of stuff are all being worked on right now. I don't want to speculate on when they're going to go into the build, but it shouldn't be that long. And that's, so the way I look at this is we have to complete the features of the interface system, and once we do that, then we're going to go back and start to polish it.
Yeah.
You know, things like the thing we were mentioning earlier about the order lines looking ugly.
Right.
There's a bunch of, like, little features that people want, the ability to, like, move orders after they're issued, stuff like that. But yes, we are going to have line building and area building. That actually both, and it's contextually dependent on what you're building.
Oh,
so,
cool.
for example, there's a lot of stuff that's just more convenient to build in lines. And then there's other things where you're just like, nah, I just want this whole area filled with this.
Yeah.
Example, metal extractors, right? You have a cluster of 5. You just go, boop, area command, and they'll just fill up all the points in the area, that kind of stuff. You know, command and control is one of the most important things in this game, so.
Yeah. How we doing with the lobby, Mark? Lobby update 2013.
There we go.
There we go. All right, we started a game. So this is on a single planet, right?
I'll take a second before I can actually show you.
Okay, that's cool. I got all the time in the world, Mark. What are you doing for Thanksgiving tomorrow, man?
Just me and my wife are having my mom and her husband are coming over. Just having a nice chill dinner at home. It's gonna be good.
I think I'm gonna eat meatballs.
I just know I'm gonna probably eat too much. So
yeah. Well, who doesn't? I mean, that's what Thanksgiving's all about. It's just being like, wow, why did I do that?
I know we're having turkey.
Turkey?
Turkey.
I thought about turkey.
It's an unusual choice.
Yeah.
Very odd.
Weird, man.
Now we're just waiting on Pinbender's. Now just Zaf and Ark. There we go.
Wow.
All right, come on,
Hey,
Zaf.
Zaf on.
Come on, Zaf.
This
Get
is
in
why
there,
I was
man.
like, we should get this game going before we start this.
Yeah, but we
takes
couldn't
forever.
was the problem. So
Here we go. So
All right.
what's your build queue here?
actually, what I'm gonna do is because we got.
Let's see.
I was gonna ask you guys. Do you guys want me to play or do you want me to watch? Just play for now. All right.
Go nuts.
I figure someone will probably try and bomb me.
Dude, that build
order.
order is totally wrong. You're
Yeah.
already
Wow.
you're already putting stuff in the wrong place.
Yes,
Wow.
I'm aware.
Really not optimal.
You know, you guys can just like
Wow.
kiss it.
As the person who wins the most games in our playtest.
How many of you won?
Uh,
Have you ever won?
yes.
You have.
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
I've won 2 games in the last few days by dropping asteroids on people.
That's the best way to win. I like to try to do the space race thing, but DJ usually kills me. Is DJ in this game?
Yes, he is in here.
Oh
so,
boy, get ready for that.
This will be interesting.
DJ always wins. So let's do another question here while we're doing the whole game thing here and starting out.
I thought we were going to start drinking during this or something.
Well,
we have
you
any
had
beer?
suggested that, but
I'll go check.
Check. There might be a jug in that fridge. Of stuff that might have alcohol.
Jungle
in it.
juice.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is, but it smells like alcohol.
You know, one thing I think we should have showed off that I forgot about was all the work that Brandon's been doing on the lava planet.
Oh,
Have you
right.
seen
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff? It looks
Yeah.
killer.
Yeah.
And then the planet we're looking at right now, the Earth type planet, we have top men working on improving that right now. Because I feel like the metal planet and the lava planet have like just blown it away in terms of overall visuals.
Yeah, didn't Tim just wrap up stuff with the moon recently? Did we get that in the game?
Yeah,
I
he did some moon updates.
think he's working on desert biomes right now.
Yeah, he's
right?
working on
Yeah,
desert right now.
Yeah.
Because everybody is like, why doesn't it look like the concept? And
Right.
I don't think they get, we're not finished yet.
Yeah. The game is done.
Although, you know, some of those concepts had really extreme verticality that, you know, when you start to get that level of verticality on a small planet, things look really weird.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some stuff we have to reconcile there, but
I think Howard's preparing us drinks right now. From Craig.
I don't think
Where's
so.
my beer, Howard? Wow, he actually left. You didn't have to. I feel bad. What are the greatest problems now? Ask Rorschach Phoenix.
lots of stuff. I mean, the game isn't finished, so what's the biggest problem? Not having all the features done. I mean, I would say, you know, what have been the challenges, I think is a more interesting way of asking that question.
Yeah.
I would say performance and memory usage is an ongoing challenge.
Yeah,
We're nowhere
it's a fight.
near where I want us to be on that front.
Yeah.
We have a lot of smart people working on those issues at this point. Steve has been doing a fantastic job speeding up rendering, but we still have tons of rendering features. I don't think I don't think I want to drink this stuff.
Okay.
That looks scary.
What?
Bacon vodka.
Wow. I'll drink it.
What
you
is
know.
it? And then you got a jug of milk.
Yes.
Thanks,
You
Howard.
got 1 minute to drink the whole thing.
That's it.
Yeah.
1 minute.
Justin.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Is this like prep alarm for the 7-Eleven?
If we had some nice, you know, scotch or something, maybe. But so anyway, performance is definitely an issue. Orbital and late game gameplay where people are bouncing commanders around. I mean, I do that myself. We have to come up with some smart design solutions to kind of that in-game scenario with the commanders. Some of that will involve new units. Some of it will involve probably restrictions on the way things work.
Right.
Making video games is hard.
Yeah. Kind of tough, huh?
You know, like for the meta version of this would just be, you know, we don't have the biggest budget in the world, and you know, we have to finish the game at some point, and it's just hard. It's just hard to make these games.
Yeah.
Even, you know, when you've worked on a lot of other similar ones, it's not easy.
Yeah. So, Mark, what's going on here? You have an advanced factory already?
Oh no.
Oh wait. Okay. All right. Sorry.
There is one of the problems in the game right now, being able to tell things apart.
He was real zoomed in, so I thought it was the big
Well,
version.
yeah, it looks a lot bigger when you're looking at it like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
so.
When you're like, whoa. Awesome, man. So anybody died yet? We good?
No,
Wow.
everyone's still alive.
Wow.
Everyone's just
Surprised Zaphod's not dead yet.
playing around, building up their base.
Yeah. So we got one more here. Will multiple monitor support be coming in soon? Asked Hacker Elias Nick 2K.
Probably not.
Probably not.
It's an important feature, but there's many other important features that are coming first. Our graphics guy right now is in the middle of literally like between the time he started a few months ago and now, he's like almost rewritten the entire graphics stack.
Wow.
So there was a lot of what we call technical debt built up there over the years, and so he's kind of paying some of that off now.
Yeah.
So we'll get there.
Eventually. At some
Eventually,
point. I guess maybe this is a good time maybe talk about how we prioritize and deprioritize things. Like when we talked earlier about some of the ideas, like I think at some point line drawing was really close to getting in, but then we kind of pushed back a little bit.
Well, the reason
because
that we pulled back on it is because we felt like things were going in so fast that the quality was suffering.
Right.
So we wanted to kind of slow down, make sure the build was stable before we added a bunch of stuff. And when you're mucking around with mainline UI type things like line building, it's really easy to break stuff. And so when we started to test it, we're like, ooh, there's a bunch of edge conditions. We really need to work on this more.
Yeah.
I'm actually really excited about the area commands as well, being able to say blow up everything in this area or patrol this area, that kind of stuff. I'm heavily waiting for that.
Yeah. Is there any work on naval AI? What's the roadblock there? Asked Hacker Ely Stewart 98.
So part of the issue is that like we have all of these planets that don't even have water on them. Mm-hmm. So does it really make sense for us to prioritize naval AI? I mean, there's not really a roadblock. It's more of just it hasn't been prioritized because Mike's trying to get the overall AI system built. Building naval AI in and of itself is basically just building some data files that plug into that system. So you can think about it like you can go deep on one thing and build out the systems and then go wide, or you can try to go wide all at once. And it's really up to Saurian the order that he does this. And yeah, so we'll get there on the naval AI, but it's not as important as things like aerial combat, land combat, getting the actual systems in there for tuning and responding to the player and all that kind of stuff, personalities, etc.
Yeah.
It's not that much work to put the naval AI in. It's just it hasn't been the right time to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's another question. Hacker Elias Dowd asks, are unit formations going to be implemented?
So yes, pathing. The complexity of pathing in this game is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
We've got randomly generated planets that have pretty complicated topology, and so to me the pathing just hasn't been moving forward as quickly as we would like. Formations have basically been the next thing on the pathing list for a while, but there's a lot of other like little things that we've had to put work into. Not only do I want to do unit formations, I want to do the ability to do the thing where you can basically draw a line and have the units form up on that line. That's
cool.
kind of like the second level of those. And that's the idea is that's part of kind of the area command system. So this stuff will come in stages.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's going to radically, things like that will affect the balance hugely, right? Going back to my other point about we don't want to chase our tail too much.
Right, right. You getting in a fight here? What's going on?
Yeah, Kaz is already attacking me.
Oh. So what are you going to do back, Mark?
Well,
doesn't look like he's got much to do
not a
anything.
whole lot to do at the moment. Let's see.
Commander rush him.
That's kind of where I'm
You might
at.
not see that, man. You just grab a bunch of fabbers, put it behind them.
Now, not enough. I
Look,
kind
I'm
of
giving you
bottomed up.
pro strats over here,
Yeah.
Mark, and I feel like you're not listening.
Says the man who never wins. So.
I win all the time in my head.
Well, now that I got 3 factories going, I should be better. At least be able to punk them a little bit.
Cool, cool. So, Teg198 asks, any time frame on releasing the ability to pick different starting planets per person /AI?
I'm detecting a theme in these questions, and the theme is, when is X going to be ready?
Yes.
And, I don't think it just doesn't work like that. We don't just pick a date and then it's ready on that date. It's ready when it's ready. I think there's a lot bigger fish to fry right now. We've got the game kind of boiled down to effectively one game mode right now that focuses all of the testing that everyone is doing on the game in a way that is good. If we start adding in things like multi-planet starts and a bunch of game modes right now, I think it's going to confuse the issue of what the game is and how you test it and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't have a time frame for that. It definitely is something we're going to do. It'll be, a game mode option. And as we start to roll out game mode options, which, by the way, we have a much better capability of doing now that we've rewritten the server to be all scriptable, which is really cool. I mean, when the modders get their hands on that, it's going to be crazy. I mean, you can literally decide what web page from the server that you're going to serve to the clients for the lobby. So mods can basically do almost anything. Like, it's just utterly ridiculous, the level of modability.
That actually connects to one of our questions. What are you looking forward to seeing the most in the modding community, and have any current mods, past or present, influenced any design decisions? Hacker Alias, your local Mad Sci.
The amount of things I'm looking forward to is pretty large. I mean,
Yeah.
I can just go down the list. First of all, I want to make sure we can mod in new game types.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that people can build tutorials and that we can build tutorials within the game. I want to make sure that people can build entire single-player campaigns inside the game. Things like, somebody comes up with a cool story that they want to tell or whatever. I'm looking forward to seeing what the community comes up with in terms of units and new units and things. And the idea is for us to be. It's not going to be a case of we just released the game. Okay, here you go. Mod away. We're just going to ignore you. I want to be engaged in such a way that the mod community says, "Hey, if you added this API, we could do X, Y, and Z."
Yeah.
Now, sometimes we're going to have to draw a line in terms of this isn't compatible with architecture, or this would cause performance issues or something.
Right.
But in general, modding is one of the core principles of the game, right? The core principles of the game are scalability, modability, command and control that's powerful, and then my favorite one, which is what you see is what you get.
Yep.
Anyway.
So here we go. This is our last question we had picked up. I'm sure we've got many more since I looked the other afternoon. Will there be height variations on the planets, hills, mountains, ramps, choke points similar to the desert biome concept that actually affect gameplay? Height differences that affect units, weapon systems, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of addressed this earlier. That's definitely something that we're going to try and push more. Keep in mind that was a concept, and that's the goal, is to get there. Although, I really feel like to have that much height variation, we're going to need to have a fairly large planet. So
Yeah.
some of that stuff might not start showing up until the planets get much larger. Which is, another question people have: how big can the planets be?
Right.
Right now, the biggest issue with making the planets bigger is simply memory usage, and that's why we have it limited, both on the server and on the client, so that people can play. But there isn't really much of a theoretical limit. It's just that it scales up really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I posted a image on my blog a while ago of I think it was a 3,000 or 4,000 radius planet, and it gets pretty ridiculously big pretty quick.
Yeah, those things are massive.
So as we improve the memory usage and improve the performance of the game, that'll open us up to more and bigger planets.
Yeah.
I don't honestly feel like planet size is one of our big problems. I feel like we can make planets that are a good size to play the game at the
this
current
one,
time.
for example. I mean, this is fantastic.
I don't know, how big is that planet, Mark?
800, I think, or I
Right.
may have even made it 750.
So probably that many people on an 800 might be a little bit crowded, but makes for a fairly quick game, I would guess.
I've been enjoying this particular size planet for this size of group.
Oh, harassing a little bit of economy, huh?
Yeah, a little bit of DJ here, who
Oh, good.
is usually the person who.
I'm not a big fan of DJ in this game.
Yeah,
in this game.
he tends to be a little rough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Take him out. Smash the planet into him.
I figure I got
No
cause
mercy.
on one side.
You mean
so
he's one of the only people in the office that actually knows how to play? Is that what you're saying?
he's one of the
always
only people
beats
who
me.
consistently kicks my ass.
Yeah. He's a winner, is what he is. You have to make him a loser, Mark.
You got to be aggressive in this game, and you have to expand. We have this conversation sometimes about people coming from other RTS games who aren't used to playing at scale.
Yeah.
And it's they'll build a factory, and they'll be like, awesome, I have my factory, now I can start
just
building
wait.
troops, and maybe I'll build another factory someday.
Yeah.
It's no, build 20 factories.
That was, I came from SC2, and it was just so hard for me to kind of really just soak in Like, okay, yes, 20 factories, because that's an ungodly amount of factories, comparison with other RTSs.
I mean, once I have a bit of economy, I always build, 10 or 20 factories, of some type, depending on what I feel like. And then I just have them constantly pump out massive armies.
Yeah.
And, probe for the weak points and keep them out there in groups harassing the other guys and trying to take out their economy. At the same time as, getting off planet and having a long game strategy, right? Yeah. I always assume that the main planet is going to get destroyed by an asteroid at some point.
It's a good assumption. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I usually try to, anymore in these playtests, like I'll try to build as small as possible, like in the tightest radius that I can, and then just race to space and try to get off the planet before somebody can come in or notice me. That's why I try to leave such a small footprint.
I actually had a game the other day where I was pursuing a dual strategy of, I built tons of advanced extractors all over this asteroid that was just packed with metal.
Oh, awesome.
And the idea was use that to really power up my economy on the planet so I could just, basically nuke the crap out of everyone and or send massive armies over there. Unfortunately, that didn't work, and I ended up having to use that asteroid to crash into someone to take them out. I still won the game, though, so.
I'm going to crack out my phone here so I can check out the forums. So, Mark, what's going on in your game right now? Like,
Kaz is definitely turtling a little bit there, and he's got more air defenses than I've seen in a while. So
we could try taking some live chat questions if we had a way to see them.
We could do that too. So we got a pro turtler in our game.
Yeah.
You should.
DJ's got his. Yeah, DJ's getting a little bit of a go here.
All right.
See how long my naval support already doesn't last.
Bigger. It's good.
Perfect.
Can the devs sell the game to me as someone who has never seen this game? What's weird about that? We were having this conversation actually last night about this, and I was like, this game is not for the people that have never seen the game. It's for people that like this kind of game already. That's kind of who we're catering to. But if I was going to describe it, I would basically, and I actually do pitch it to people like in the grocery store and stuff sometimes,
Yeah.
Because that's just how I am.
Yeah.
A customer's a customer, right? So, the kind of primary thing that I would always say is it's about blowing up robots on a massive interplanetary warfare scale. I mean, that's like the really short kind of version of it.
Yeah.
And that's all that most people are really going to be able to understand without seeing the game more. Because when you say things like RTS, you get, what? What is that?
Right.
So, I mean, I reiterated this before, but I'll say it again. Like, when talking about the core principles of the game, it's scale, like big game, lots of units, lots of players, lots of planets. That's always been the goal. The second one is what you see is what you get. I change the order of these sometimes, but what you see is what you get. What that specifically means is we don't have a dialogue box with a tech tree. You see the tech tree on the map. If you fly over the guy's base and see what's going on, you know the state of his economy through like watching his guys do their thing. You know what buildings he has and what units he has available to him just by looking at what's going on. That's what you see is what you get. That's what that is. Modability is huge. We are building a framework here, a simple game on top of that framework so that the community can innovate and make the ultimate RTS game in some ways, or a bunch of different cool games. So that's really, really important. And then the command and control stuff is really important. The UI is not there to get in your way. It's there to help you execute your strategic decisions. So
yeah, absolutely.
So if that kind of thing appeals to you, then this is the game for you.
Looks like we do have our first fatality. Ezerek, one of our UI guys, has passed into that great unknown.
Do you know what happened?
I'm not sure. I don't have recon on that yet, so...
What are you doing, Mark? Build some satellites.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
No, the teleporter will not be floating in orbit. Somebody was asking, will the teleporter be floating in orbit? Now, that's not to say we won't have orbital teleporters down the road as some kind of cool unit or whatever, but the normal teleporter is not meant to be in orbit.
Yeah. Let's see here.
This is funny. he isn't doing incredible, but the dev has got a lot of land area. That's not bad. Apparently, you're not very good at the game, Mark.
Mark,
I have good games and I have bad games. I'm definitely not playing particularly well this game.
We're about to make DJ angry again.
I'm hoping
which
so.
I appreciate.
You know, anytime I can piss DJ off,
Wait, there you go.
generally makes me pretty happy.
Is there a chance of hover factories and hover unit set coming in? Not for launch. That's not on the agenda, but it's definitely something that long term we're going to be thinking about.
Looks like the AI just got killed too.
Nice.
Poor AI.
I wish I could play the beta of this game. Well, it is on sale on Steam right now. So
$44.99 Steam Autumn sale.
Maybe needs a new computer or something. I don't know, but
Well, now's a great time to smash some planets, folks. Oh, and by the way, actually, anyone who buys the game during the Steam Autumn sale, and also anyone who has already bought the game, is getting a brand new commander down the line. So this is different than the Theta. This is a Autumn exclusive sale, or not even a sale. It's just a free goodie that you get.
Although everyone who already has it will be getting the
Yes,
commander
everyone
as well.
who's already purchased the game will be getting the same commander too.
Let's try and bum rush Cause again. See if I have enough bots now.
So Ragzukin says, "Why bother to separate bots and tanks?" Somebody actually has this as my quote on this as part of their signature on the forum.
Why do
and
anything?
it's yeah, and I'm like, why have anything? You know, like it's variety is cool. Variety
Right.
adds its own reward. Like you could make this game with 5 units and have it be perfectly fun. You could have a metal extraction unit, an energy unit, a tank, and a tower, and probably be able to have a perfectly fun game, right?
Right.
Part of the experience of the scale of this game, remember the core principles, is to have a lot of different cool units, you know? Like, who doesn't want to play with something like the can? I mean, come on, everybody remembers the can. That's textural kind of like game stuff. It's not, it's not, this isn't chess where we're like, you have your pawn and he moves this way, and you have your rook and he moves this way. It's, you can have multiple things that overlap in different roles and preferences and what you think is cool and how you want to play. Personally, I play with both bots and tanks. I usually build them both in the same game.
Bots are good for flanking. I mean, they move fast.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the kind of differentiators. Tanks are meant to be a little, and this is generally, right? Not every unit of this type will be like this. We will be able to have bots that are heavier and move slower, but in general, the idea is bots move quicker, are lighter on their feet, lighter armored. Tanks move slower, heavier armor, more punch.
Right.
But, why do that? Why do anything, Why have anything in the game? Because it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Why are bots so small?
Well, is the commander small?
Oh.
He's a bot. I mean,
I don't think they're small. That's how I would answer. I don't.
some of them are like fairly small within the scale of the game, but that's okay. We'll have a range of sizes.
Yeah.
Do you think you could add naval transport units? Yes, I think that's something we can add, and I think it's something we probably will add eventually.
Bad things are happening to Mark here.
Yeah,
according to
Brandon
chat.
just bombed my naval base.
Why are you letting Brandon do that?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is not going to end well, by the way.
Like
even a little.
Yeah, this is bad news.
Pinbender says,
Pretty much hosed.
why is Pinbender so bad at this game?
Well, we have 5 people dead now.
Because he spent too much of his career working on FPSs, that's why.
Ez, Pinbender, Michelle, and DJ, and the AR have all been eliminated. On the off chance I win this game, it will only because everyone else is killing each other before they get to me.
Although Brandon looks like he's handling...
Brandon's doing a good job at...
he might be-
So, everyone keeps asking about Tech 3 or experimentals. I think we should just start putting that moniker on some units. Right? I mean, we have that stuff. We have big units. We have crazy, like, cannons that shoot down from orbit and blow stuff up, right?
Yeah.
We have a lot of that kind of stuff. We have a Halley. I mean, come on.
Right.
That's Tech 3.
Yes.
Any way you want to slice it. So I feel like people get caught up in terminology that is just not relevant. You got to look at what the units do.
Yeah, as a whole. What you see is what you get, right?
What you see is what you get. Exactly. That's part of the reason why I was like, let's not emphasize this whole tech level thing. Let's just say there's, if you want to call it advanced or whatever, if you want to call it experimental, fine. To me that's a Supreme Commander term, and I'm not going to just like start calling stuff experimental, but there are going to be units that are big and do crazy stuff.
Ooh.
It looks like you've lost your energy and
I
things.
have lost a little energy here. I'm going to see if I can conserve a little bit, but Brandon's doing a good job at wasting my base there. Although he may be at the extent of his reach there.
Oh, I guess you're right.
I'm getting at least a little bit of artillery up there to see what I can do, but...
Yeah, that's quite a navy there. Maybe he'll go bother DJ.
DJ's already dead.
What? He is.
Someone already called in.
Fantastic. Congratulations. If
Yeah,
it was one of you, thank you. I appreciate it.
Somebody wants to know if we're going to get bigger engines than the Halley. It's certainly not like on the immediate agenda, but I could see it happening in the future.
Yeah, for like the 25 rocket planets, where I guess just, yeah.
Yeah, just
That'd be
have a mega Halley that's like...
worth five
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, one thing I think people should understand is the intent isn't for us to, okay, we launch the game, it's done, move on to the next thing. We want to continue to support the game, continue to add units, and so there's going to be a lot of opportunity for us to expand the unit set, add new roles, add mega versions of units like a bigger Halley if that's something that we think makes sense.
Yeah.
And, also to take some of the mod stuff and suck that into the game so people can play with that. So
Yeah, absolutely. So,
how soon is 40-person multiplayer? That's actually kind of an interesting question. There's absolutely no reason right now why we couldn't just change the number to 40. Everything would just work.
right.
Performance would probably be the biggest issue. So I would say once we get the performance kind of beaten into shape over time, that will enable us to have the bigger games.
Massive games. 40 people?
Yeah, I mean, it's unclear how that's going to work, but I've always pictured it as basically like, you'd have something like 5 or 8 or 10 planets, each with a certain number of people starting on them, and then they would battle it out and then start fighting the other guys and go from there.
God, that'd be incredible. There was just one planet where a guy just dominated, and you're sitting there in your own little planet, and then all of a sudden an asteroid hits yours because this other guy is doing so well that you haven't even seen a ghost of. A lot of potential there.
Did they talk about Team Alliance yet? So we're actually working on that now. We have a fairly comprehensive alliance plan where you can set up your alliances in the lobby, configure whether or not they're breakable in-game or not, and then there'll be like an alliance dialog box in the game where you can transfer units, set up alliances, break alliances, transfer metal energy, etc. So that's all being worked on right now. I don't have an ETA.
Mark, looks like you're coming back a little bit.
I'm gotten a little bit of a reprieve. Fortunately, I built my base far enough inland and had enough distance from Cause. I might at least be able to get something going here.
So Mr. GreenX was asking, he's like, this game seems a lot like Forged Alliance. Am I right about that? And it's like, well, I worked on Forged Alliance.
I worked on Forged
Mark
Alliance.
worked on Forged Alliance. Andrew, you worked on Forged Alliance, didn't you? Just Soupcom too? Howard worked on Forged Alliance. So there is, there's some inspiration there. I mean, we learned a lot of stuff making that game. So, I've never seen this game as being a sequel to Supreme Commander or really the same as it. But, obviously, since we made that game, there's a lot of lessons that we learned there.
I at least got my economy
Unbroken?
unbroken. Yes, to use a lighter term that I was about to use.
He's like, Mark, get some fighters before you meet Zaphod.
Yeah, but both him and Brandon, I know. I want to scout out a base here, and then.
That is
So this is an interesting question. How are you guys doing the random system generation that's not just like a couple planets? So the 2-planet one is really kind of basically a first pass, like, let's make sure we're testing multi-planet gameplay. So the way that multi-planet generation could work, and this is kind of what we're working on for Galactic War, is basically templates. So a system template that's got, in general, this will have X number of Earth-type planets. They may or may not have moons. There may or may not be other things. So you'll have systems that are more metal-oriented or Earth-type oriented. I was thinking we'll probably have something like 10 different templates. And then you basically call into the template and say, give me a system of this type. And then we can randomly pick a template and have it kind of fill out the parameters. So it's like another layer of procedural generation on top of the planets themselves. So hopefully that answers that question.
Very cool. Oh, you even have an army, Mark?
Yeah, and I actually should not look at that because if Kaz is cheating and watching the live stream, he's going to see what I'm doing there. So
That's good. That's good.
Look at all that metal you should have been taking.
yep.
So sad.
Come on, Mark.
You know, people keep asking, like, how soon is X happening? And it's like, you know, I just don't know the answer to that question. So, like, how soon are asteroid belts coming? Well, we already have asteroid belts. Put a bunch of asteroids in orbit, and that is an asteroid belt. You can do that right now.
Yeah.
When should lava planets be available? Lava planets are coming soon. They look really good now. I know there were some gameplay issues that we had to resolve. I think those are pretty close to being resolved. So, not too long. Will nuke defense range increase? There's a couple of changes, actually, that I want to make to nukes. One is I want them to start off with, or to anti-nukes, I want them to start off with a missile, possibly more than one, but probably just one. And yeah, there's range issues there that are messed up. Fully agree. If everyone's sitting there going, you need to fix this, I completely agree. We're going to fix it. Don't you think, Brad?
Oh yeah, I think Tom was. I think Tom was doing something with that. Our design intern, actually. I think he was
Playing. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
he was
messing
trying to
around with
just see if the system
make
was actually
sure.
broken.
Yes. Okay.
And
yeah.
try to understand what's going on with the ranges because they don't quite match what we think they should be matching. And
Right.
there's complex kind of logistical issues with the way that the anti-nukes work. But
Yeah.
I want to, you know, I want to make them easier to use. It's the pendulum. The pendulum has swung a little bit too far onto the side of the nukes themselves. So.
Right. Right.
Had a little bit of a sneak attack going here. Managed to take out at least some of Kaz's base.
Oh.
Oh shit! His commander's coming in.
Oh, I think he's given up.
Well, he was supposed to calm bomb DJ, not me, but DJ's already dead, so that's
Thank
a
God
little
for
difficult.
that. Okay, so we're gonna.
He's dead. He's not going to take too much of my base out, but he's going to still take some of my front lines.
Here we go.
There we go. All right.
That's not too bad.
So somebody was
All
asking
right.
about colorblind options. We definitely want to do something with colorblind options. Again, I don't have an ETA, but that's a fairly tractable thing to do, and we have people here that are colorblind to test it. So, and there's different kinds of colorblind lists. I mean, it's one of the best ways to handle that in general is to do like basically a post-process filter kind of thing.
Yeah.
I actually have enough economy now. I need to actually start getting stuff back up and running.
All of a sudden, the planet's just gonna smash into yours. That's how I want this to end.
So this is an interesting question. How's the work on moving bodies into different orbits coming along? So like I was saying earlier, I want to actually talk to the community a little bit about some of these issues in more detail because we have plans on how we want to do that. And originally I had cooked up this crazy complicated, like, you know, you can exactly control the orbits and do flybys and all that kind of stuff. And I think, you know, I was convinced by having discussions on the team and stuff that it's an RTS game and it should be click and you go. And so when you control something with Halleys right now, really the only option you have is, you know, annihilate, click, okay, it goes and blows up that planet. So what should the controls look like for moving things into different orbits and stuff like that? And so what we decided to do was to start to quantify things more. So there's a concept now, and this is really kind of still rough. So if people want to comment on this, feel free to make some forum posts. But the basic idea is that there's this concept of being in orbit around another body. So if you look at like an Earth-type planet with a moon, that moon is in orbit. Okay, those things are locked together. So if you have an asteroid that's way out, you know, somewhere else, the idea is you're going to be able to basically say, put it in orbit around this body.
Right.
And the interface for doing that is going to look a lot like the system editor, where you just kind of you know, drag the thing around and it'll attach itself, and then you can kind of go and say, okay, go over here. And I think you'll be able to set the orbital distance as well. And then, so if you want to do something like a classic example that we always talk about is the nuke flyby. You fill an asteroid up with nukes and you want to launch them at the planet. Okay, well, tell it to go in orbit around the planet. When you're in orbit, you can launch the nukes. That's the kind of like, am I allowed to have combat between these planets? Well, are they in orbit with each other?
Right.
That's the kind of current thinking, and it makes it very binary. Like, okay, I know these things can attack each other because they're in orbit around each other or together. So we haven't implemented that yet, but it's very high up on the list.
I'm impressed by how you're hanging in, Mark. You did a good job coming back from that.
I've done a great job of not dying yet.
Congratulations.
Will there be any way to counter asteroid smashing? To a great extent, the counter is to get off the planet, go out there and attack their asteroid and shut down their Halleys, or potentially hit them with another asteroid. So we'll see about that. So what's the status of the game?
Status of the game is we're down to 4 players. It is me, it is Zaphod, it is Archangel, and it is Brandon. Archangel is Bruce. I'm trying to remember what his handle on the forums is. Anyway, he's helping around on a lot of things. He's helping basically be our one-man QA department. He's helping on a lot of design and unit issues. Everyone, of course, knows Zaphod, and HPC is Brandon, who has been doing all the Lava Planet awesomeness of late.
It appears as
And
though
bombing my ass all too often.
Mark, it looks like you want to be nuked.
So Defanzor is
Yeah,
like,
I'm
are we
screwed
going
if they
to
nuke me.
are we going to implement click and drag for building stuff? I addressed that earlier. Yes,
Yes,
we are.
That is a thing.
So for those who have joined, somebody wants to know about the current status of the metal planets. So metal planets, we've had some issues with getting them to path correctly. We've been constantly banging on that and trying to improve that. They have some. I personally, I think they look really cool. I just think
great.
I just think that so that I would say the status is they're partway done, right? The actual surface to play on, I'm pretty happy with that. The next level of metal planets is actually making them do something from a game perspective, like a Death Star kind of situation, and that really is that's a nice to have, but that's something to me that could come online at any point, right? It doesn't. It's not that's not the priority. Repeat build queue for a factory. It's kind of on the list. Honestly, that's a feature that everyone seems to want, so I'm sure we'll do it. I'm not sure when.
It looks like it's just you and Zaphod now, huh?
Yeah.
And then there was 2.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This could be interesting.
I think you might lose, Mark.
It seems likely.
Because those guys just disappeared all of a sudden.
Somebody's like, who made the metal planets in the first place, lore-wise? I don't think we're going to give that away quite yet.
And Zaph is already orbital, and I'm trying to actually see if I can get something
He's going to play
in
with
on
you
his
like a
base
cat,
here.
isn't he? He's just going to kick you around a little bit.
So,
Actually, yeah.
IGN.com, will you be able to hijack enemy asteroids? So if you have 2 people on an asteroid and they both start building Halleys, they cancel each other out.
Oh, really?
So, yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. Like, we had to work through the design of that when we first implemented it.
Oh, wow.
I'm not aware of it actually ever happening, because in practice, you tend to not be able to build those until you actually own the thing enough.
Right.
But if they build one and you build one, they basically cancel. And
Wow.
you have to have a net amount that's that number of engines more than what they've got. So
I want to see a situation like that play out.
Petard wants to know if they're getting their physical rewards before New Year, and the answer is definitely
No
no.
chance.
The Seraphim made metal planets? No.
So here's what I think you need to do, Mark. I think you need to attack.
Well, I'm
You
trying.
surprise him. He's not expecting it right now. He thinks he has you on the
Well,
ropes.
of course he's not expecting it right
Oh,
now.
no,
because
no. You got him.
I basically have about... I need to finish this thing. Because if I can do
Yes.
that, then at least I have a chance.
That's a big deal right there.
You're dead.
Oh, yeah, I kind of figured, but...
Assume the fetal position, Mark, is what they said.
Motul Prime wants to know about multiple rally points for factories.
There we go.
I'm not really sure how that would
Zoom
work.
in
You might
on
want
that.
to post something about how you see that working in detail. There's no current plans for that.
I'm so screwed.
Sorry. Mark is getting beat up pretty bad.
Yeah,
Whoa! He has some...
I'm pretty hosed.
there are some troops coming into your base, Mark.
There are, in
Right
fact,
now.
some troops
There-
coming into my base.
There are some bad guys.
Oh, some orbital fighters.
Some orbital fighters too. I believe our stream is almost at an end, folks.
Oh yeah, I am so supremely screwed.
That's a quick get off the planet.
Yeah, that would require certain things that I don't have at the moment. See how quickly my Fabbers can kick out some. At least I have my little army of Fabbers here.
Yeah, why not? Just put them all on your commander. Be that guy.
Oh, and he's nuking me. Okay, nice.
It's simple.
Nice.
Apparently. Oh my goodness.
Okay, well, if I'm gonna die, a couple nukes or an asteroid hitting your head, there are worse ways to die. So
That's a good way to go out. That's definitely a good way to go out.
I'm surprised I was second to last there.
That's good. That's good. Xenophod with the win.
All right, clearly I need to practice over the Thanksgiving
So
break.
this has already gone probably longer than we were anticipating.
A little bit.
We finished the game. We've answered lots of questions.
Indeed.
Anything else that we
Just
say?
as always, thank you, Kickstarter backers, pledgers, funders, people who've already purchased the game. We appreciate your support. You're helping us make this game a possibility. And I guess should add watch the trailer again if you'd like. And Planetary Annihilation's $44.99 on Steam right now as part of its autumn sales. Spread the word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody
Give the gift.
who's ever pre-ordered has access at
Yeah,
this point, right?
exactly.
So there's no more
Everyone.
pre-orders. It's
And if
instant
you
access.
don't, please go to uberrent.com/PA/FAQ. It tells you everything you need to know on how to get your Kickstarter stuff going. If all else fails, email us at support and we'll get you sorted out.
Awesome.
we haven't talked about how awesome the Doctor Who 50th anniversary was.
Don't even talk about it. I haven't
saw
watched
that.
it yet.
You want to know
Good.
some
You should go
spoilers?
watch that.
I will punch. You may be bigger than me, but I will punch you if you start giving
Don't
spoilers.
hit me. Don't hit me. I'm fragile. Doesn't
All
look
right.
like it, but I'm fragile.
So see you guys on the flip side. I think we're going to take a couple days off here.
Heck yeah. Eat
some
turkey,
stuff.
drink wine,
And then we'll be
Meatballs.
back.
or meatballs. You're weird.
Have a good one.
Later, guys.
Weird. Don't